Hi, I've never played Thea the Awakening before, and I know nothing about it. Let's check it out. New game. Let's see. Bonuses, the Path of Wisdom. Your villagers are committed to community wisdom. Valus, the Keeper of the Underworld. So I can only choose between Mokosh or Valus, right? I guess I'll pick this one first. Village Focus Warriors, difficulty normal. Let me see if there's a... Master of Mystical Powers and Guardian of Souls. That was your name before the Great Darkness. Now you are simply Valus, a lost god trying to reclaim his might.
Thea is awakened. Welcome. No time to waste. You are a deity of the High Pantheon, and you must help your worshippers survive the darkness. So what now, you ask? You are divine, yes, but you have little power, and so you will know the world through your people's eyes. This means sometimes you will encounter your own divine messengers, and maybe even face your own avatars. Weird, I know. Your first mission is to survive. Every critter is trying to make sure you stay down. So get food and craft better equipment to protect
Premise reminds me of Populous so far,
victory,
which I played on the Super Nintendo a long time ago.
Progress, or by solving the cosmic tree's mystery.
That's cool. Let's not skip the tutorial. What's this? Who's talking to me? What did you mean, looking through people's eyes?
I am but a messenger. Theodore, you can call me. But let us focus on you. Thea is a broken land. The underworld is shut, and the undead roam the earth. And creatures of darkness that ruled for a century want you dead.
Okay, so I need to improve our village and people. How do I get started?
First, go and explore your village. Check the inventory to see your stocks and set people to gather food and fuel, like wood. Without food, people will starve. And without fuel, they will not craft or even heal. So these are really important.
Gather food and fuel the village. Anything else?
Yes. Once you've visited your village, check out the people standing outside. The exploring party. Select your party and send them to me. I will wait for your people outside the village. I have marked your people's map with a big blue question mark so they will see where I am. Oh, and if you ever forget what your current task is, just check out your logbook.
Logbook. Check out my villagers and people first. Send them your way. Let's begin. Enter the minds and bodies of your worshippers. Oh, that actually kind of reminds me of ActRaiser. I assume that it's not an action game, but plot-wise. +1 XP. Village tutorial. Let's learn the basics of map navigation first. Press and hold left click or use WASD arrows to navigate. Okay. Scroll the mouse wheel up or down to zoom. Left click on this guy to select an expedition. Press and hold right click over a hex you want to go to. Oh, I see the hexes. That's cool. It shows me how far it's going to take me. It'll help you set up village tasks. Left click on Astoya to select your village. Left click again and select the magnifying glass to open village management. Okay. Click Gather. Here you can see all the resources that can be gathered. Food is marked with this icon, that makes sense. Drag and drop a villager to start. Once the task is completed, you will receive the resource pack. The task will then be repeated automatically. Okay. But it's like turn-based, it looks like. So she's getting wood, and he's getting food. Got it. You can click question mark to get more help. Clicking on this guy ends the turn. But I can still move him somewhere, right?
Theodore welcomes you. Well, hello there. I see you're finding your feet and making first steps into the world. Well done.
This kind of reminds me of, the gameplay reminds me of Renowned Explorers, which is like a roguelike. What now?
Events such as meeting me will occur throughout your adventures. Sometimes they are random, sometimes predestined, and always varied. Events can occur when you're out exploring, but also globally, or within your village. So remember, leaving your settlement unattended may be dangerous.
Events can occur at any time, both within the village and out in the world. Anything else?
I ask you to bring stuff or do things in order to move to the next stage. I asked you before to gather food and fuel in your village. So you can gather resources in your village, but also by setting up a camp when you're out exploring. To set up camp, stand on an empty hex and choose the tent icon from the mini hut.
Okay. Gather by setting up camps in the world.
Now events can lead to conversations or just random disasters, but they can also lead to challenges. To show you what I mean, track down a pack of boars nearby, marked by a blue question mark, and bring me back their bones.
Kill some boars. Got it. Let me see. Okay. Let me check something real quick. I'm going to change the music volume so that the voiceover is a little bit louder. Let me save. There's no way I can like load save mid-play. I don't think this is save scummable. So we go to these boars, and what happens?
You find the boars Theodore told you about.
Oh yeah, this is like
only a couple,
very
so it
roguelike.
should not be too hard. However,
Roguelite.
instead of a straight fight, you can try to do a proper hunt. If you have the right skills, that is. Or better yet, you can go all native on these beasties and wrestle them to the ground. Not an easy option, that one.
So this is closest to Renowned Explorers among games that I've played so far. Interesting. Wrestle them, physical. You started a challenge with 4x physical. How do you want to resolve it? Auto-resolve or begin combat? Before each challenge, your people's cards are split between offensive and tactical hands. Here you have the option to reshuffle if you don't like this draw. You learn about challenges and their mechanics once the challenge begins. So these are the people that I've brought. The tactical hand has some of their abilities, it looks like. Confuse. Okay, so part of it's like a card game. It's kind of cool. I guess we'll just try it, because I haven't played the game before. Welcome to the card minigame. Pay close attention to this tutorial. The mechanics are fairly complex. To win, you need to eliminate all of your opponent's cards. Let's begin. The deck is made up of your party members. The stats, damage type, and tactical skills come from their equipment. Okay. The deck is divided into two hands, offensive hand and tactical hand. I like the use of the knight icon. Starting hand in each round is decided randomly. You begin with preparation phase where you play your cards. The fight phase comes after all cards are played. This number shows how many cards you can play this turn. I'll press question mark to check where that number comes from. I guess I must have abilities that impact it. Each card is characterized by two very important values, attack and defense. Okay, I can see those on each of the cards. Attacks deal damage, lowering the defense of an attacked card. When defense reaches 0, that card is eliminated. Characters may have different types of attack depending on the weapon, their special skills, and non-fight challenges. Some attacks have additional effects such as poison or leech. In fight challenges only, your wounds will be carried over from the challenge and can lead to the death of characters. Offensive cards are for direct attack and are placed on the battlefield using left click. Cards are added to the end of the queue. Some weapons and skills can modify an existing card's position. Oh, that's interesting. Tactical cards offer support. They can only be played using their skills. Support actions will affect the rightmost eligible card in the queue. Okay. When both you and your opponent pass a turn without playing any cards, fight phase begins. Fight phase is resolved according to the card's queue position from left to right, so the leftmost card attacks first. Cards take their turn in the queue and attack the closest enemy on either side randomly. Okay. Once cards have no target on the battlefield, damage is dealt to remaining cards and hands in discard pile. If the first fight phase does not conclude the challenge, a second phase occurs. And if both fight phases don't conclude, a new preparation phase begins. Got it. So we're saying that I can play Alina. I don't think I need to cast any skills, right? Confused, rightmost card in the queue is not already. He loses his attack in the first fight phase. Okay, there's some cool design space with this card queuing premise. I think Alina's the only one that I can put out on the screen, right? Discards a random card from your opponent's tactics hand. Let's do random card from the offense hand. That sounds pretty strong. We can figure out how to do it here. Challenges. Stacks. On the screen. I hit this to end. Bonus turn. So I only get one action on my turn. Okay, got it. And I had already used it, that's why clicking other things wasn't doing anything. Understood. Counter offense made me discard his physical card. Okay, gotcha. So this is preparation, but it's like all going to resolve at once, basically. So I'm trying to affect the order in which things occur. Counter tactic. Allows character to enter the battlefield, but by doing so, it gets confused and loses its attack in the first fight phase. Let's try making him discard his last card there. I guess it doesn't work if it's the only one they have remaining, maybe? Okay. And Scott, you threatened nuclear death yet? Okay, their hands are already empty. And it keeps going until we both pass, right? Fight phase. Ouch. That hurt. But at 10, okay, I'm seeing the amount of damage we're doing here. He's progressing in the queue. It starts back over, sure. It hits her. Ouch. I think I'm gonna win. Keep or reshuffle. Keep. So when cards die there, it's not like a permanent loss, it looks like. Shield. This value will be added to the card's total defense when it enters the battlefield. Which gets me at 12, effectively. So I guess that must be more modifiable by other means later. Allows this character to enter the battlefield, but it's confused. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Because they each have their own stats, but they're like in a separate pile over here. I see. And that's what this was, a tactical card that got confused enter. And I can do that without it consuming an action point. Got it. So I probably could have get closer to everyone last turn. I need to understand what confused does a little bit better. Defeat the physical card. Falabor's dead, but everyone else should be good. You have one.
You wrestled with boars and won. You still had to use pointy things to finish them off, but this was quite a feat. Your loot may not be as plentiful as a straight fight, but you did not risk getting wounds, so your people will not have the danger of dying now.
I see. So wrestling them is different than if I had just fought them. Gotcha. Leather, bone, meat. Got it. Cool. View my group. Okay, so these people each have an associated card, and they have skills that show up in the tactics deck. So they have stats that matter when they are drawn as offensive characters, stats that also matter when they're drawn as tactics characters, but it changes what you can do. I think I get it. Looks like they can also have gear. I see. She has a staff equipped. Some of them can't change equipment during an event. Okay. Plus 1 XP. Villagers need to eat. Each person uses 1 food item per turn. Food is needed to heal wounds. If villagers run out of food, they will starve and die. Having a good variety of food provides many bonuses. Fuel is needed in the village and in camps. 1 fuel item per turn is used. Without fuel, no additional healing and any task will take twice as long to complete. Okay. So I have 7 fuel and 12 food, if I'm understanding that correctly. And now that I'm in an empty hex, I think I'm allowed to rest? Or camp, rather? Is that what this does? Those settlements... Click them. Inventory, equipment, split expedition lets me change up the people in there, okay. Camping costs 1 MP, but I can't do it with these characters because this hex isn't empty, maybe? Is that the problem? Or because I'm out of movement points? Research shows research points, how much is needed to gain an advancement points. Experience shows XP and how much is needed to level up. Oh, MP is movement points. Okay, so if I had left them on this tile back here, they could have camped. Gotcha. Thank you, Scarf. I've got the self-hype song off at the moment because Patreon was shitting the bed and the API was sending everyone as a new sub. Let's see. Game log. Information about quests. Part 3. I think we're basically done with quest-related stuff. So we pass the turn. This enemy moves over here. Let me try to save. Thinking about it here. I guess let's get this chest that I was coming over here for. Search location.
Some ruins of an old city, engulfed in mist and mystery.
Search.
One of many buildings you tirelessly searched through contains a closed stash. It takes you almost an hour to open it, but luckily it's not empty.
Nice. Okay. So is it appropriate to call this game a roguelike? Or roguelite? Who has no equipment? She has no equipment. And the new short staff. It worked. Perfect. Try to fight these. Okay, the extra movement points are required because I'm moving through forest. You approach the beast and you have time to decide your plan of action. Best way to slay a beast is eye to eye, fight. Play it safe and use some trickery. Brew a poison and plant it in some bait sickness. Let's try that one. Get brewing. Oh, this still uses the card system? That's a cool concept. Begin combat. So it's combat, but it's like flavorful combat. I see, they're trying to resist the sickness. That's clever. I like when games like this have a core mechanic and try to explore the different ways it could be applied to the flavor of the game. Bardostoy, Morzelslava. Okay, and that one has the confuse effect because it was a tactics card. So what does confuse actually do? It makes it so you can't determine the order in which they're going to act. They basically get randomized. So yeah, I can still make all these guys get closer. I just don't see why I wouldn't do that. Loses its attack in the first fight phase. But it gets confused and doesn't attack. Oof. One of them out, and there's the other one. As overkill. Got it. You execute your plan with perfection, the animals eat the bait and collapse in pain. Some got away, but you got at least half the pack. Okay. And I also didn't risk getting wound cards from fighting them. Check out the spider's nest. I guess I can't move this turn anymore. See ya, Kevin. Happy lurking. Stoya, make sure I'm still doing gathering here. Crafts. Oh, that's cute. Press close to set up materials for this craft. Drag and drop materials onto the workbench. Confirm to add this task to the current tasks list. Does this game have any permanent progression after a run, Scholar? Oh, I can choose one or the other. Okay, so which one's primary, which one's secondary, and then potentially have a catalyst. You unlock the grayed out characters by playing through maps, basically. Let me see if it gives me the prop for that again. I'm not sure I follow what they want me to do here, unless I'm supposed to have a third item. Oh, I see. Plain shirt. Then if I did this instead, it would also be a plain shirt. No smithy, 20% minus crafting skill level. Drag and drop a villager to start. Okay, and she'll work on that into the next turn, it sounds like. These people are still set to gathering food, and a person trying to get fuel, if I'm reading that right. That's a cool concept. Do you have to just play the game to unlock the other deities, or are there certain unlock conditions, like beating certain stages? Constructs. Don't think I'm prepped to do constructs yet. I think that the card battle is it's a mini game. This is more like Renowned Explorers.
One of your people has a particular talent for teaching. Kids and adults alike find it easy to learn from them.
Great. Let them teach us folk knowledge.
Teaching continues. You learn some folk knowledge.
That's cool. What does that do? Represents wisdom, knowledge, and even basic folk rituals. Use an intellect and hex challenge. Okay. Right, because there's 9 different kinds of combat card challenges you can have that different characters are good at with different stats. If you like this game, I'd recommend checking out Renowned Explorer. It was a subblock game we played through and beat. Also a roguelike, hex-based game where you can win through talking, but talking is still part of the combat system, which is pretty cool. Check out the spider's nest. Let's try doing a fight. Well, it's 5 spiders this time, which maybe isn't as great. This looks fine. I don't yet know why I would try to reshuffle. I think it starts a little too complicated. I like the premise of the design space. Like, okay, the turn order is what's really going to matter here. I'm going to see if I can see more details on Confuse. Left or the right, attacking the nearest enemy in that direction, ignoring friendly targets. These haven't really come up yet, right? Piercing, poison, leech. Skills. You can get really good at it if you figure it out. That's cool. Oh, and because it's a fight, they're doing damage right as I'm playing them to the board. When the last card does half its piercing damage to it, but only when the last card is an opponent's card. How is that different from slashing damage? Assuming that's what that is. You have to play them to see it, and there's also bludgeoning. Okay. So did the effect of the previous character doing damage as they entered the battlefield, was that a side effect of piercing? Damage is dealt to one enemy only. Oh, I'm out of the cards for this turn. Okay. Is there benefit to flanking in this game, like having characters on both sides of an enemy? I see. So this character had piercing, and I prompted them to get closer, and they automatically dealt damage to the spider without it being the combat phase. So I wasted this character's spear effects, too. Because I put it out there when there were no surviving enemies. Let's see what bludgeoning does. Shields, it looks like, maybe. Oh, all damage remaining after killing an opponent is then dealt to the second opponent. Oh, so it has like overflow damage. That's interesting. So is slash just bad, or does it tend to like roll a higher number or something? So I can see how you could want crush instead of pierce. Alright, no damage taken. Got leather jerkin and some XP. Sweet. So if I want to equip them, leather jerkin. Only certain classes can use it, it looks like. Gotcha. It's easiest to understand and always the highest damage per weapon tier. Okay, so maybe it slash is do a lot of damage to one enemy, burst damage one enemy. Pierce is do damage when you enter the battlefield, potentially take something out before the combat phase. And then bludgeon is finish something off and do some rollover damage onto the next opponent. If I followed you right. I'm gonna try to camp here. Camp. Gather. For fuel, okay. I see. So I have a party of 6 characters right now. And they'll just do this for this time step. Now we've already established that the characters in the town repeat things until I reassign them, right? So these folks are still gathering. Oh, but I could assign more people to food if I wanted to. Okay, I see. And then crafting means they're working on the plane, sure, right? And having more people assigned will let you make it faster. How do I get additional humans? Do I have to recruit them? Enough resources. Gold, steel, and wood. 25. Oh, we also need to have banked foods, okay. Now what exactly does the pasture do? Why do I want it? Come back to it once the game points me to it. Yeah, this is a neat game. Imagine it takes a bit to get the hang of it, but a few ways, but not something you have a lot of control over early on. Okay, gotcha. So they could keep gathering if I wanted them to, but I could also just send them out. Gotcha. Break camp. Let's see. Fight, brew poison. Fight went pretty well last time. Does fighting... Let me think if I can ask this question. Do my individual cards improve as a result of fighting? Do they gain, like, experience, or do I just get, like, global XP and loot from completing fights? Or completing any kind of skill challenge? global XP? Okay. The main way I advance these cards is by giving them equipment. When I level up, everyone gets a stat randomly. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Read this right. Half of its piercing damage. So since this does 9, if I play it, it should do 4.5 and kill the crow. Okay. And now I can play another character, but I don't want to play one that has piercing because it would be a waste since there are no enemies on the board. So I play Falibor instead. There's no reason to not play as many cards as I can, right? This one confused Alina. So the only thing Confused does is it makes it so that they don't do damage during the first fight phase, but their damage gets delayed until the second fight phase, or does it do something else as well? That one has 5 health. Okay. Yeah, because I thought I saw something that was like, by doing so, it gets confused and loses its attack. So what it means is, it gets confused, semicolon, you know, it loses its attack, or meaning that it loses its attack. Got it. I thought maybe there was another side effect in addition to that. So, I suppose I can kind of think of the characters in the tactical section as like the back lines. Like, these are the 3 front lines characters, these are the back lines. So when I say get closer, in the flavor of the game, I'm saying, you know, get into combat, and they're not going to be able to do anything at the beginning because they're in the back, but then in the second fight phase they can do damage. Maybe. This should be enough to kill this guy. Now, why is it that sometimes I have 2 actions and sometimes I only get 1? Shield ally, the rightmost card in the queue. If you have a back row fighter with high shield, you can play them early to soak damage. I think I see what you're saying. So, if you get closer with them, it doesn't matter that they're not going to do damage because they're just going to be eating damage from the enemy monsters, right? Actions per round is based on party size. Once everyone's been played, the party with remaining cards finishes playing everything. I see. I got a bow. Crude bow. He has a pike, it looks like. Missing the bow. Okay, so the thing that makes the bow distinct from other weapons is that it does ranged damage, which I haven't seen how that works yet, but hold on. I don't think I can read the tooltip about taking them into battle. So that's just another damage type, like how piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning are damage types. Add damage ability. So is that something that says, oh, here we go. Range damage against tactical abilities during fight and hunting challenges. Oh. Okay. So, I can kind of envision equipment in this game as being the source of the skills, the actions you can take if you're in the tactics side of the deck, but then it also provides some kind of like stat benefit if you're on the offense side. Ups the damage of the last played combat card. Okay. So does a bow still do like piercing damage normally? Oh, they can have a ranged weapon in addition to a melee weapon. I see. Soldiers can only carry a limited weight depending on their strength attribute. I see, that's this value at the bottom. Okay, so range isn't something that you do instead of normal damage, it's like bonus damage potentially. Gotcha. Search the area.
An old city engulfed in mist and mystery. You open one of the buildings, a strange-looking stone and metal-built affair, and you hear a clunking noise, then a blunt thud. Before you are able to do anything, you see a skeleton charging your way.
A spooky skeleton? One skeleton and 4 hulking rats. I'm still learning why I would want to reshuffle, so... If I'm following this game right, there's only a few possible ways that this could play out, right? Because I only have 6 characters, so, you know, some of the 6 are going to end up in the tactical hand, and some of the 6 are going to end up in the offensive hand, and I would mulligan if I know that one of these characters has tactical abilities that I would prefer over the ones that are over here, right? Or if I wanted to have a tanky character over here to place forward first with get closer. Makes more sense as you get more specialized. Do you end up having a larger party eventually as well, or is it always 6? Oh, I see. Right now everyone kind of just does decent damage, but if I had a character that was like garbage at combat, I wouldn't want them in the front lines. I see. That's clever. Okay. So, I think. Support ally. Increases the offense value of your rightmost card in the queue by support ally level. Now, let me think. If I do get closer with this guy, no matter what, he will always do 7 damage, right? Because his spear does 15. So what's the use case for using support ally instead of get closer, given that support ally does only 4 damage? Does that just mean that he shouldn't be equipped with the bow because it's redundant for the thing that he can already do? I'm guessing piercing damage is half of the number rounded down. They have a blunt weapon, the +4 might be worth more in some cases. Oh, maybe I misunderstood blunt damage earlier. You can create more rollover. Okay. Because it could allow that character to potentially kill 2 units, maybe, depending on what's on the board. I think I gotcha. And, okay, so we're playing cards in a queue. Every unit tries to attack the closest thing to it, either to the left or the right, and if there's something on both the left and right, it selects one of them randomly. Is that true? Okay. And then you have cards that interact with that design space, so you can have a card that maybe it says, I'm just making something up here, but like, you know, the card you select moves all the way to the right, or moves all the way to the left, or moves over 2 spaces, or whatever. Well, this rightmost card in the queue, whose level is equal or lower than confused and is not already confused. So it tells me that it's not going to target this hulking rat that's already confused. It's going to target this one. Let's see. If I could get closer, I could get some immediate damage. It depends on who's killing who, I guess. So he's... Svartastoy is, like, going to kill a rat with his 19 damage. He'll then still have 12 damage remaining to kill the other rat. Does that keep rolling over, or does it only happen one time? Second opponent, I assume it happens only one time, then. Rightmost ally card in the queue, whose level is equal or lower than the first action, is moved to the beginning of the queue. Okay. But that would change nothing at this point. Now that was unnecessary, because Smartest Toy was already going to kill that rat, so that was kind of a waste of a turn there. I could have done something more productive with her. I think I'm getting it. That's cool. I'm not good at it, but I kind of get it. So having add damage on a character lets you hide injured people. Okay. So I want my weaker characters with a lower shield value to be on the edges of the board, away, like with another character between them and a monster, right? Because basically that character is shielding the other one, is the way to think about it. Let's see what happens. In this game, it seems like the card minigame is entirely deterministic, right? Like there's no randomness at all. After the card shuffle happens, that's random. Oh, I see. But then attacks, if they're surrounded, they can act randomly. Okay, that's cool. I kind of like it's kind of elegant that like you're making this queue and you're trying to defend your weaker characters. Wound show how much damage you've taken and lowers your health. So if you're going to do a fight, you want to try to do it without anyone taking any damage, because it does carry over to future combats. Okay. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So you can, like, start a combat, look at all of your cards. I guess you don't have perfect information because you can't see what all the enemy cards are, but you can try to make a plan for the entire turn and then execute on it. So, are these icons next to them, does this mean that they're, like, particularly good at this thing? Like, Vajmir is particularly good at gathering food, and everyone else is neutral? Uh-huh. So, Falibor and Murzaslava are both good at crafting. Do they generally give me an expedition party that's like the most equipped to go outside of the town? Or are you kind of expected to go to the town and pick which people you want to leave in the town and which people you want to send out and about? So she shouldn't be doing that because she doesn't have a bonus to food. These two both have food bonuses. Oh, I was assigning these guys stupidly before. Okay. If anyone's in a craft, it should be her. She can gather wood. At the start of the game, you pick warriors, gatherers, crafters, and it gives you a party weight to your specialty. I see. And how does your deity has abilities? I just picked the first one I saw. Your villagers are committed to wisdom, so they research faster. Villagers get a +2 bonus to your armor. During challenges versus disease. Finish the god's main quest to win. Oh, okay. Advancement victory. With a population of 50 people, unlock at least 70% of the tech tree, build 3 grand buildings. Defeat 30 opponents in any type of challenge. And there's a bunch of modifiers for the game difficulty. Oh, and you get a score multiplier based on how hard you're making it. I really like when games do this. It gives the player control, like fine control over what the difficulty is going to be, but it means that if you want to get the maximum possible score, you have to play on the most brutal settings. It's smart. And as you level up, your deity gets more bonuses. So every time I see that I'm getting XP for something, that's going to the deity, right? Go back to making this plain shirt for now, I guess. Craft tools. So if I equip craft tools on her, that makes her better at making more craft tools, basically. I see. So it imparts this craft 2 bonus on someone. XP is calculated after the game based on difficulty, craft items. Oh, okay. So that's what makes this a roguelite rather than a roguelike. That, along with what Scholar was saying, that you can also unlock other deities to play as. You're playing through different games, like, is the deity getting XP even if you completely fail? Like, if you just die in the second battle or something? Let's see. That's cool.
Travelers passes by your village. You exchange basic supplies and talk.
I do like some kind of permanent progression. It helps with these kinds of games for me.
Out in the wilderness, they say she can cure any poison and even heal wounds, for a price, of course. They give you a map to the herbalist's hut and depart on their journey.
I'm a little wounded. Wounds are equal to the damage I took and, like, permanently reduce... Well, not permanently, but they reduce the shield values on those characters until you get the healing done. Is healing something that you can only achieve through an in-world event, like going to this herbalist's hut, or do characters automatically recover some number of wounds over time? A little more complicated than that. Okay. Let's play it safe with the sickness. So, okay, if the game is giving me different challenges, like trap them with sickness versus fight them head on, like the sickness one is lower risk because it can't result in wounds to my characters, right? But does that mean it's also lower reward in many cases? Do you tend to get the best rewards if you choose to fight? The number of wounds you take isn't one-to-one the damage you take. I see. Let me do this once. Resolving curses and poisons which can result in wounds. You don't have as many opportunities to get skills related to specialized challenges. Okay. So, for instance, is it possible in this game to have a hero that specializes in sickness challenges and then just kind of be SOL if you're forced into a fight challenge with them? Let's see. When we say that they're specialized in it, that really just means that they have a tactics ability that helps with these kind of challenges. Stares into the horizon sadly. Okay, so we want to send our weaker characters to be behind. But we don't want to do it just yet because the enemy still can place a card, right? So, and they'll place it next in the order. So if I played a weak character here, then there'd be a monster put right next to them, and that would be bad. So I want to play another, like, tanky-ish character. Oh, but at the end of turn anyway. Okay. Attack and not determined by different stats and different challenges. So a medic is better attack and take this. Oh, the math that's on the screen. So that's why I was actually wondering. Like, I feel like all their stats are lower. Is that because of the wounds I took? But you're saying it's because we're recalculating based on it being a sickness encounter instead of a combat encounter. Gotcha. Thank you. Okay. So I put this guy out. Try to help defend. And then everybody else can basically just go. And this is why they all show as having slash now, right? Like, we're calling it slash damage, but it really, like, the flavor of the game is that it's just neutral. There's no reason they would do piercing damage because they're trying to inflict poison, right? Okay, closer. Hey, Karito, how you doing? So I should have put this 8 character all the way in the back. That was a mistake. Cool. So she's more medically inclined, which is why her damage is really high compared to everyone else. Understanding the abstraction is helpful to me too. That's cool though. Like I said, I like when you have a core gameplay loop and you find ways to apply it to different sorts of in-universe activities. Like using driving to solve everything in Drive for San Francisco. I hear you, Gerudo. Thoughts are with you. Just got a new bit of equipment. This is like the perfect sub-block game, by the way, Scholar. You nailed it. Like, interesting little game with some cool potential for design space. This genre is also my shit, so I would be super down to play more of it if you wanted to keep it on your sub-block too. Let's see. Back to the town. Yeah, I like games that have neat ideas, and you can start to imagine what the design space might look like in just like the first hour of play, even without having seen all of it. Oh, so I can still choose equipment to give them. She's made a shirt. Now, do things like shirts provide any benefit at all to people that are left behind in the town? I guess it said that there are events that can occur that affect the town, so I guess if they have to defend themselves, it might matter. Take a break from harassing witches and relax with the card game. Okay, so keeping them equipped and ready is a good idea, basically. Gotcha. Close. How do we get more of these resources? Looks like she's almost out of them. Is that something that the adventuring party does? Like, is it necessary for the adventuring party to occasionally return back to base to share their spoils with the gathering team? Some challenge rewards would be odd to guess at. A social challenge might avoid a fight, but a social challenge might be to a new person. Okay. So in addition to, like, mechanical design space, they also have, like, flavor design space. How do we argue that you're using this skill to do this thing? Check your bar on the bottom right. Alright, let's play visible resources. Cycle between groups. Go to settlements. Shows resources that I haven't made it to yet. Okay. Seaweed, money. Nice, Ravenon. You messed around in Roll20 before? You can actually do some like vision stuff in Roll20 with your map. You can draw sight lines with dynamic lighting, but they won't be able to see until they have line of sight to something, or until you manually reveal it. Astral tabletop. Oh god, okay. This is the perfect thing for me to see at the last 5 minutes. Research screens allows you to spend advancement points to unlock new resources, crafting, and construction recipes. An advancement point is given when enough research points are collected, and this deity's specialty is they get extra research points. Warrior start is actually harder to gather because good quality materials let you build good items. And items determine, like, equipment determines everything in this game, basically, for what your characters can do. Research points are gained by crafting and constructing, visiting ruins, and also in some events. Gems give a random skill bonus upon crafting weapons and armor. The rarity of the gem improves the strength bonus. For leather is thicker than normal leather. Oh, so I'm researching the ability to make these new things? Or work these new things, basically? And by default, I have access to these only. Oh, harvest. Okay. Is that something that anyone's able to gather at that point, or is it just the expedition team or just the town team? Craft all gear that you don't find. Okay. Fur leather, quartz, clay. Based on where it is on the map. So, for instance, if I do show resources, if I'm going to take something from the research tree, I might want it to be something that... oh, where's my team? I want it to be something that's close to either my expedition team or my town that I can send people out to get. So, like, seaweed, nuts, maybe, herbs, or fruit. But I think some of those are too far away. Oh, you can't see them. Okay. So I'll know that amber is on the map. 5 units of this resource to your settlement's inventory. I'm trying to think like what's going to be the most impactful thing I could take. Probably steel. Let's try that. Difficult to obtain. Steel's recovered from items made before the cataclysm. Okay. Firm. Now if I look at this again, if there were steel harvest points, it would show me. Gotcha. But it did give me 5 steel for free, right? So if I go back to the town, show settlements, crafts. Cooked meals, use some of the food that they've been gathering. Gathering tools. Don't use steel right now. I see, so that could be for like crafting tools or something. So, okay. Oh, if you zoom out, it shows you the closest one even in the fog of war. If I turn this back on. I see. That's clever. So, is this game balanced such that there's almost always an appropriate order in which to take research, or it completely depends because the map is randomized and you have no way of knowing? It varies, okay. I wonder how much of that is like a mastery thing where you just have to get really good at the game and memorize which one's what. Cost 2 movement. Try sickness again. That actually seems pretty good as far as the people on the offensive hand. Let's put our tanky characters out. Let's see who's the least potential damage. Now, does that not count as a tactics card? It looks like that kind of just got wasted there. Would it show me? Would it be like highlighted in green if it counted? Use counter tactics, support ally. Equal or higher level on the skill. Now, is the level public information scholar, or is that something that I'm like gambling on? Thank you very much, Six Gun. I'll take a look at it. But I don't know the enemy's number until I see the card, right? That's what I was wondering. Thanks. Okay, cool. Ooh, we got some kind of cool tibia club. Let's take a look at that. that's time for this game for now. Thanks, Scholar, for sharing this. I do dig this, and we'll be down to play it some more. Future Marstead, if you're playing this, just remember that you're managing this party here. You right-click to move them to different locations to explore. You probably want to send them back to the town soon in order to distribute resources there. Double-check your townsfolk, make sure that you're doing something productive in the gather and crafting territories. It seems like you don't want to extend yourself too far without going back and sharing resources with your town, so that should probably be your next priority. Go ahead and save. Yep, just leave it as is if you wanted to get played again next time you get Drawn Scholar. So thanks again, and thanks Droid for your help. This game's pretty neat.